Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining today's EAC webinar. This is Cassie Stumo. I am the marketing specialist here at EAC. We will start off today with a brief overview of EAC, and then our technical account manager, Bill Schlund, will be presenting on how you can easily access your enterprise data and other product data from PLM Apps. Everyone gets a recording of this session pending any technical difficulties, so please remember to use the chat function to ask questions, and we'll answer them after the presentation. So I will start off with a quick intro. Our mission is to transform the way companies design, manufacture, connect to, and service their products. We are proud to be the #1 solutions provider for PTC in the country, offering our customers everything they need for product development to stay ahead of the game with advancements in the latest technology. We offer service lifecycle management software, which helps you create and manage service documentation, product data management software like Windchill, ThingWorx Navigate, and our customizable EAC productivity apps, which helps you to manage internal product data. We implement the Internet of Things and augmented reality into business strategies to jumpstart initiatives around digital transformation and connecting all things in your company. We also assist with design and engineering projects like FEA, simulation, reverse engineering, and we also deliver proof of concepts for our customers. We are also a commercial reseller for Formlabs, offering their latest products in additive manufacturing. The Form 3 is now available with packages starting at $3,499. Any previous owners of the Form 2 prior to the Form 3 release date of April 2nd of this year will receive $500 off their order of the Form 3 until June 1st. Otherwise, we're also still selling the Form 2 at a discounted price of $28.50. So please keep us in mind. We really have a variety of tools to help your organization save time and money throughout the product development process. Bill will present on PLM Apps. So you can go ahead, Bill, take it away.
All right, thanks. Good morning, everybody. My name is Bill Schlund, and I'll be going through a discussion. I'm going to start off with a PowerPoint, just kind of hit some high points of the ThingWorx Navigate apps, and then also EAC, not to be outdone by PTC, have created their own apps, and we'll go through those as well. So let's start off. Basically, there's a lot of really good information in Windchill, and there are a lot of people in the enterprise that need to get that information, but they aren't necessarily Windchill users, or sometimes they don't want to be Windchill users. We can kind of consider them casual users. And all they want to do is get their information out. And I've been to plenty of companies where I'll ask somebody, how do you get that? And they go, well, I just go ask Tom to go get it for me. And that's just not the right way of doing things. So what PTC has done is designed a series of role-based apps that allow you or a user to get at certain information. So for instance, a tool designer could call up drawings without having to go through the whole interface of Windchill, but just through a simple app, just click, type in the drawing number you're looking for, and it pops up on his screen. Same with purchasing, quality, all the other people in the enterprise that might need access to this information now can easily obtain it without having to become an expert at working with Windchill. So one of the great things about this is that I mentioned before, this is kind of a role-based app. So depending on who you log in as will determine what type of access and what type of things you can get at. So it's really simple just to narrow things down. You just have a single app that you click, maybe on the shop floor, and that will pop up a drawing for you. You just want to see bills of materials. You can do that as well. They're also customizable so that we can kind of control exactly what's on the screen and how it's delivered to the user. So there's a lot of great benefits to accessing Windchill, but just kind of accessing it in a unique and easy to do way. It's easy to really deploy Navigate throughout the enterprise, just like Windchill. It's a web-based app, so all you need is your web browser and a login, and you can start working with the Navigate apps and also with the EAC apps. So as I mentioned before, EAC has also created their own. We have the 4 of them right now, more to come, but one's for accessing information, searching for information, getting bill of material reports, and then related documents type of things. And we'll go through all of these. We'll be able to see how they work. The Windchill or the EAC apps are a little bit different than the Windchill apps from the standpoint of they use and highly leverage the concept of mashups. So they will bring in a variety of different information in the app so that the user has all the information that he or she could desire at basically just a couple of button clicks. And the reason we've done this is working with our customers, we have found that as they've asked for certain capabilities to look into Windchill and pull information out, it always tends to grow. Well, we want to see this and we want to have the ability to do this. So from that, we determined that there's a lot of need to have multiple streams of data, maybe from different locations, maybe even different databases brought into the user's screen in one place. So with that, let's take a look at, we'll start off with the Navigate apps, and then we'll continue on and look at the EAC app. So the Navigate apps, we can see those here. We have 8 apps that, as I said, are kind of role-based. I'll just go through a couple of these. I'm going to go into in-depth on several as well. But this is this first app is View Design Files. So these would be related files if I wanted to look at a drawing, but I don't want to use the PTC Creo drawing or the SolidWorks or the CATIA drawing. I want to see it in a PDF format or a DXF or DWG. I would use this particular app to get at that information. So more kind of neutralish type formats. The second one is View Drawings. It's exactly that. I want to just take a look at drawings in particular. Then we have 3D and Measure. So that's calling up Creo View. We type in a part number or a document, and Creo View brings that up. We can mark it up and obviously do measurements and interference checking and a variety of other things. We have part properties. So that is the metadata, right? So that's sort of the information page for every file. It tells us when the part was created, who created it, what state it's at, things like that. Then we have parts list, our bill of material, right? So we can see a listing of the components that make up an assembly. This one I thought was kind of interesting. This is called part structure. I was going to go into this a little bit more. The other ones, as you can see, just are a single app, right? They bring a particular piece of information to the user with a button click and entering in a part number or product number. So with the part structure, this is going to allow us to do the same type of thing where I'm going to be able to go in and search for a part, but then it's going to bring up kind of some more information along the lines of what the EAC apps do from the standpoint of streaming in a variety of information. So what we see down below are recently accessed drawings and parts that I have done in my session, but to look for something, I might want to say I want to search for a part number. I only know part of it. I only have to type in part of the part number. I don't need to use wildcards or anything like that. And I just hit a search button, and it goes through and is looking in Windchill, right? And it's finding out every part number that has 7200. And so we can see there's a variety of different parts. Some are drawings, some are individual parts, exploded views, things like that. I'm going to say, let's take a look at this guy. So by picking on it, that brings me into this particular Navigate app. We can see a thumbnail of the component up here. We can see information about it, its name, its numbers, state. Right now it's in work. The other apps that I've been talking about are all right here too. So I don't have to back out if I wanted to go look at a drawing. I can just go over here and pick on this, and I would see the drawing for that part. So it's kind of nicely organized so that once I'm in working with a particular assembly, document, part, whatever, I also have access to all the other apps on that same page. Down here we can see kind of a 3D representation of this. So we can see that if you're familiar with Windchill, you can see that it's just pulling out Windchill information and kind of putting it together in this mashup or this listing of different information about the same part. So we have the 3D visualization, then we have the listing of this. again, if you're familiar with Windchill, these would be two different tabs that you would select on. But here, I can see them both at the same time on the same page. Here we can go and take a look at a component. If I select on a component over here, obviously it highlights it over here, and it also brings it up in a little thumbnail up here where I can see it. Again, everything is hyperlinked. If I wanted to dive into this particular part to explore it more, I would click on that, and that becomes my theme part, the part that is this window is concerned with, and then I have all the information for that. Also, if I pick on a component here, it will highlight it. You can see down here in the visualization. So very easy for me to get at this information. What I'm going to do is say, as I mentioned before, if I wanted to see the drawing associated with this, I'll just pick that, and it pops up the associated drawing that I can see for this particular assembly. We can see it's a multi-page drawing. Same thing is true. We can bounce into the other apps if I choose to do that. Here we'll take a look at our assembly again. I can browse through the different components that I have here. I could pick on this particular component. Again, it shows me the hyperlink up here and a thumbnail of it. If this is the part that I'm interested in, as I mentioned before, just simply pick on the hyperlink, and now this becomes the component that we have. Again, we can see the, obviously 3D representation, and if we wanted to see the drawing associated with him, we can do that as well. So it's very easy for me to navigate through a structure without having to do it in Windchill. I'm just using hyperlinks and picking on images and things like that, making it very, very easy for me to get to the information that I want to get at. If I do want to back out and go to the main page, I can just hit the upper corner here, and we can see that we have access then to all 8 of our apps that we have. In this particular one, I could say, let's look at documents. So it's exactly that. Let's go and look at a variety of different types of documents that are associated and that we have here in our Windchill vault. And what I'm going to do is just say, let's just search for, I don't know, something with a 1 in it, right? So this will bring us up a variety of different files here. We can see we got a PowerPoint. We have some other information here. I can select on it. It brings us to that one. Now, remember, this whole time, even though it doesn't look like Windchill, I've been in Windchill the whole time. In fact, I can go here and say, let's view this in Windchill, and it pops up the Windchill window, and now I can see that this is indeed a JPEG, and I can download it. I can see all the other information. I can look at the structure and history and a variety of other things. So I've never left Windchill. I've been in it the whole time. It's just that I'm accessing it in a different way. Much easier to use, especially for the casual users and the people that just want to go in, get some information, and pull it out. So these are the Navigate apps. These are the out-of-box apps that PTC provides. Now, we've created our own, we being EAC, and we can see those here. We have that right, so we've attached it, and it's right on the same page as the Navigate apps. And when I select on this, this brings us into the 4 EAC apps that we currently have. And again, I mentioned those before. One for searching, accessing data, bill of materials reports, and then part association or really related parts type of thing. So let's kind of browse through each one of these. You'll notice that there's little pencils up here, and you would see that as an administrator. That allows me to edit these particular apps and customize what is viewed or not viewed by the user depending on his or her role. I'm going to go in here, and you'll notice I don't even have to type in part numbers. I can search through the main structure, and then at this point I could say I want to put in a part number to search for. Hit the search button. Again, no wildcards needed to do this. And we can see it brings out a list of all the different files that we have in our Windchill database that have these 4, really 5 characters in them. We can see we have some WT parts here. If I wanted to see an assembly, I can simply select on that. And what it does in the little window or on the side, it brings up that particular assembly. If I wanted to see maybe the drawing, and we can see that. Again, it brings up both of those. I'm just holding my control button down so I can bring up multiple ones at the same time. And then with the drawing, obviously, I have access to different formats of that drawing. Again, when this part is checked in, I have the workgroup managers kicking off a DXF and a PDF of this as well. So I can easily access those. And then maybe if I want to take a look at a document here, I can just say, let's look at this document. And again, we'll see all three of these things. And one of the things that I can do, again, as with the document, we can see it's a Word doc, and it also has an attachment to it, a PDF. So we get a lot of real good information real quickly just by selecting a couple of lines here. And then we also have access to kind of more neutral type formats of this. So you can see that we're actually streaming in a variety of different types of areas in the Windchill database and pulling those all in to me on one screen. So we'll pop back to the front page, or our home page really, of our apps, and we'll take a look at this next app, this Quick Access. This is actually a really unique app. It's different than anything I've shown you up until now and anything that I will show you. It's really got some unique capabilities in it that sets it apart. So the first thing, as we do with all the apps, is we want to be able to find some information in the Windchill database. So it gives us the opportunity, again, to go and search for things. And in this particular one, I don't even have to type in part numbers. It just kind of narrows everything's down in lists. Then I'll just hit the search button. Again, it's bringing up an assembly here, and we can see the assembly structure as we see it here. If I wanted to see maybe a drawing for this guy, I come over here and I can click on the drawing tab, and it pops up the drawing. If I wanted to see maybe an image, 3D image of a component, I can call that up. We can see that here. We can see his drawing. You notice here we have another tab. This is a user-defined tab. So again, these are customizable. So we've kind of left an open area here if there's some other information that you might want to add under a tab here. The 3D tab allows me to call up Creo View, right? So I can just hit open, and it will open this up in Creo View. Another unique thing that you might see down here is something called cost, right? So what this is doing right now is that it is pulling information in from the Windchill database, right? So there's cost associated with each component, and it's just kind of totaling those up. So they're attributes. But there's also hooks in this app to hook into outside sources to get this costing. For instance, we could hit an ERP system or something like that. So EAC would be more than happy to customize this app so that it can go outside of the Windchill world and also bring in on the same page information from another system. Another thing that's also unique about this is we can look at related documents associated with this component. We could look at problem reports, change requests. In fact, one of the things here, we'll see, we might have change request on this guy. We can see there's an oil plug issue. And so we can get, and we can also see, change notices and variances. So lots of different information about this particular assembly. If I wanted to maybe take a more in-depth look at this change request, remember, I'm in Windchill all the time. I just double click on it, and now I'm here in Windchill. And if I wanted to, maybe go in and change or edit this particular change request, I can do that now because I've been in Windchill the whole time. I've just been accessing it in a different fashion. But here we are in the middle of that change request. I can go and start adding some attachments or anything else that I should want to do. So the nice thing about the apps is that they are Windchill, right? We're just having different things. So at the very beginning of this app, I mentioned this is different than any of the other apps that you're going to see and have seen. And it's right here, these buttons right here. This allows me to go in and create a change request or a change notice or a new variant. So I could say I want to create a change request. So I'm actually authoring something. Everything up until now has been pulling information and putting it to, or giving it to me on the screen so that I can view it. I can look at drawings and assemblies and things like that. Now I'm actually creating something. So I'm going to create a change request, and we could say, I don't know, we could just say there's an oil leak or something like that with our engine. And then what's this? Is it a design issue? Is it a cost issue? Is it something other? It's probably a design issue. Again, these are all the same questions that Windchill would be asking me. except they'd be on different tabs, right? That as it kind of leads me through the process. Here, everything is on a single tab. I enter in all the information that I want, and then I just hit submit, and I've kicked off a change request. So by authoring, that's what really makes this app unique, is the ability to author and start to push information into the system or kick off certain processes while I'm here in the app. So let's pop back. Let's take a look at our third app, and this is the bill of materials representation. And again, it's not just a bill of material all by itself. Staying with our theme of streaming in a variety of different types of information on the same screen, I'm going to go over to our bill of material for this. We'll pop up our, and again, we're still working with the engine assembly. And what we can see here is a list of our bill of material and the state that all these components are in and things like that. We also have sort of a KPI, key performance indicator representation down here. This engine is made up of hundreds of parts, and I don't want to have to sit there and browse through and see which ones are in work and which ones are released or canceled or whatever. I can see that here in my representation. I can see which parts are in work, so there's still a great majority of those in work. There's a fair amount that have been released, and then a very small amount that have been canceled. Again, we have a pull down here where I could go in and I could say, let's look at who's been working on the different components. I could see a pie chart or a bar chart. I can also customize this and say, show me a bar chart instead, or like which models are involved. And then here we can see, let's look at the names of the models. See a variety of different models here. Also, over on the right side, you'll notice that we're summing up all the different costs of these components. But if I were to pick on a particular component, it gives me the cost for that single component. And then again, the total cost down below. So here's another component over here, and we'll see it update again with its unique price, and then as compared to the total price of the engine that we happen to be looking at. But these KPIs or this little dashboard down here allows us to look at a variety of different information that have to do with the bill of material, but just kind of makes it in a more digestible fashion where we can just get a really quick look at the status of a particular assembly, in this case, our bill of material that we're looking at. And then finally, we're going to go to our last app, which is part association. So this has to do with working with WT parts, if you're familiar with those. But what it's going to allow me to do is I'm going to type in a user attribute, right? So I'll type in EAC as my user attribute. And what it's going to do is show me all the parts associated with that. So this would be sort of like related documents in a WT part world. These are all the different files that are associated with this. I can see that there are some CAD documents. Obviously, we have some drawings here. And again, we can pull those out in different formats. We have a variety of different drawings. We have the 3D assembly. We also have a Word document here and a PDF. So all of these are available just on one screen by typing in a user attribute. And now if I needed to send some information maybe to a customer or to a vendor, they want a DXF or a PDF, I just click on this, download it, and then email it to them. I don't have to spend a lot of time searching around. The only thing I had to type in is my attribute that I wanted to search for, and it brings up all the information that I could want for this particular assembly and drawings that we're looking at. So that's our quick tour today of not only the Navigate apps, but then also the EAC apps. Again, a really nice way of being able to work with Windchill, but in a very user-friendly, easy to access type of fashion. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Cassie for some closing comments.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Bill. Thank you for that presentation on PLM Apps.